nurse navigator, and what I get to do is to work with people from the time something abnormal shows up on a mammogram, and I explain what it means, what we're going to do next, takes away the unknown. I'm specially trained in oncology and radiology, so I can help with understanding some of the lingo and what the next steps are. I stay in touch with you so that you have a continuous familiar person to connect with, someone you can trust. I also kind of work behind the scenes, communicating with doctors, making sure they have the information they need to help you with any decision making and with any additional tests you might need. So I really enjoy what I get to do, and I get to basically form a relationship with each patient as they go through whatever additional tests they might need.
Having my very first mammogram, which I recommend anyone should do who's 40 years and older if you're a woman. And I wanted to get a feel for what's the process, what happens. Let's say I do get a call and they say, I need to come back in, I need to get further tests, or they need to discuss something with me. That could cause a lot of fear in someone or make them nervous. So with me here I have Linda Ashelman, and she is actually my key contact with Passion into Action for the Women's Conference, and Linda's been working with us very closely for our Taking Care of You breakfast for the conference, and we are celebrating women who are breast cancer survivors and also letting all of us aware of what this process is like. So Linda, okay, so I had my mammogram.
Right.
You've given me a call and you see something. Or is that how it works? Tell me how it works, because I don't know.
Yeah. Well, first of all, with your first mammogram, it's really common to need to come back for, we call them additional views or extra views. It's basically a close-up to determine what your normal baseline is, because we're all different.
Okay, so that's normal after the first one. Because
Right.
you said I might have like thicker, denser tissue.
That
After
could be,
nursing kids for 5 years.
Right. We just our breasts are made up of glandular tissue, fat. There's usually some lymph nodes in our breast, but they're not the same. So what's important with your first mammogram is to establish what your baseline is, and then in future mammograms, the radiologists are able to compare and notice any changes.
Okay.
And they can notice the most subtle changes. And so being called back for a baseline, I completely understand that people are anxious and fearful about that. And so our job is to get you in here as soon as possible.
Okay.
Hopefully, the next day or within a couple of days. And when you come in, the radiologist is here. We get the additional views. We do an ultrasound, which is using sound waves to look at the breast tissue, which gives us another view, another perspective. And the radiologist is here to give feedback, show you your images if you like, and explain what we're looking at.
Okay.
And so there's no mystery, and you get all the answers right up front.
Right there with the radiologist. I know,
Yeah.
actually it was fascinating to look at the photos. I stepped back with Janine a little bit, and she was showing me some of the breast tissue, and it's really interesting, and to see probably how far along technology's gone.
Yeah, with digital mammography, the mammograms are able to be read very quickly. There's no waiting to develop film, and it's better at looking at dense breast tissue, which younger women tend to have, and enables our radiologists to do the best they can.
Okay.
And they are able to be in their reading room and really focus on what they're doing.
So what are the reasons usually when you have someone that comes in here to your office? You're usually sitting down with them, right?
Right.
Like this.
Yeah. Usually the first time I come in contact with someone is over the phone when they need to come back for the additional views. And then in person, face-to-face, is if they need something further. If they need to have an aspiration or a biopsy, some kind of procedure that involves needles. That's what we do here. Needles are scary. Our team is, we work together really well. The radiologists are all very conscientious about using plenty of local anesthetic. The actual procedure usually takes less time than the paperwork.
Okay.
And
And that's for a biopsy.
That's for a biopsy. So the radiologist explains it. I follow up, answer any questions that women have about, well, when do I get results, and how does my doctor find out, and provide them with information and resources. And I'm a contact person too, so then I'm there during the procedure, making sure they're okay when they leave, following up the next day to make sure, are they having any more soreness, any signs of infection. We have low rate of infection, almost zero, but we can't quite get it to zero.
Yeah. And what are some of the other concerns that women have, or other information that you're sharing with them when they're sitting with you?
They're concerned about if they have family history. They want to make sure they do everything they need to do.
Because there's different types of breast cancer. So is
Right.
this when you start talking about that, or you don't even know then, because you're still doing diagnostic,
I mean,
right?
a good 2/3 of our biopsies turn out to be not cancer. We're ruling out cancer.
Good to know.
2/3 of the time. If the radiologist thinks that it's really suspicious, they share that with the woman. They're not going to pretend. If they don't think it's very suspicious, but they're not quite sure, and that's why we're doing the biopsy, they share that too. So I really try to reinforce whatever the radiologist is saying and provide information to go along with that. So if they're thinking it's probably a benign, non-cancerous process, I have information and handouts about the various kinds of benign tumors and things we can have in our breast tissue.
Yeah.
If they are thinking it's likely to be breast cancer, then I'm going to offer them information about breast cancer. Some women will say, yeah, I'll take that now. Others will say, no, I'm going to wait. I need to take this a step at a time. So I try to work with whatever everybody's needs are, and we're all individual that way.
So here at the Imagery Center, participating in the Moonlight Mammogram, I was chatting a little bit just about women who have insurance or don't have insurance. So let's say I don't have insurance, I'm able to participate, get a mammogram. What happens if I get news that I need further, it's not called
what
work,
am I gonna
but
do
what
now?
do you do?
Right.
Because that's probably women's fear. If I get I find out I have something.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Right. So for the further diagnostics, in the case of no insurance, then we have a fund that's a grant funds through the Susan G. Komen Foundation that enable us to pay for everything up to and including a biopsy. And if it turns out they do have breast cancer, there is a state and federally funded breast cancer treatment program that that is honored here at our cancer center, our local surgeons, and basically, if I think they're going to need that and they seem to be worried about the financial part of it, I give them that information up front so they know, okay, I can put that aside.
Don't worry
need to
about
be
it.
worrying about
So
that.
for the women, the message is, don't put this off if you don't
Right.
have health insurance.
Right.
Because I know women who don't, and as a result, don't get the medical care for prevention that they need.
We just know how to say yes.
That's great. I like that. Yeah. So, and what would be your message to women, Linda? I mean, you see women daily around this. So what would be your message to them? Someone sitting here and they haven't had a mammogram before, or they're nervous about getting their first one. I put mine off for a year. We get busy with our life, and I didn't prioritize it until I started hearing about women my age having breast cancer.
I would say call, get information rather than feeling fearful and anxious. Get information about what we have to offer and the different options so you can make choices for yourself that are right for you. We're not going to try to force anybody into doing anything. People have concerns about radiation. It's very minimal radiation, but really it's all about information and helping people make choices.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they're feeling like they can't make a choice because they don't have insurance, we can provide that information, and then they can have choices. The other thing that women often will find a lump and be very fearful and call up and I've got this lump, it's new, or I've waited a month or 2 months or 6 months and I don't know what to do. And so just call before it gets to the point where it's just tearing you up and you can't sleep at night.
Bring your friend.
Yeah.
The fun thing with the moonlight mammogram is you can actually bring your friends too.
I know, and the moonlight mammogram is really designed to be a way to reduce that anxiety. I mean, there's probably always going to be an element of anxiety, but really to reduce it and make it more of a fun event.
Yeah.
A way to celebrate rather than come in and be fearful.
Yeah. Well, and you've done an incredible job of setting that up and setting that space here for women to come and feel comfortable. So thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. The hospital has really been very supportive of that. We started it a few years ago, and it really has gotten going now.